Yeah, now we are live. Yeah, so now we are live. So let's start. Let's begin our journey into a new thing I wanted to bring out is on dependent origination of Paticcasamutpada. Just a second. So we might have known or heard about Paticcasamutpada, that is dependent origination. But there is a way to understand this dependent origination in terms of experiencing it. So theoretically we might know it, but practically we might not have that experience about the dependent origination. So I am taking it from the Paticcasamutpada Vibhanga, which is in Vibhanga section of Abhidhamma. That is where you get a complete detailed explanation of each one of these links. Before we go there, we need to understand one formula that is very important for us, which is iti imasmim sati idam hoti imas uppada idam uppajjati. So this is called as anuloma jnana, that is when you really see the arising aspect of it, samudaya. So first we need to experience samudaya, and then we can see the nirodha. Nirodha as in cessation, samudaya as in arising. So the English translation, if I were to make of it, is iti is thus, imasmim sati idam hoti, this being true, sati is true, idam hoti, this comes to be, imassa uppada, with the arising of this, idam uppajjati, this arises. Now this might look very cryptic as a formula, but without understanding this formula it becomes very challenging to just recite avijja pachay sankhara, sankhara pachay vinyana, vinyana pachay nama rupa, like that. So it becomes a recitation more than an experience. So what we are going to do now is to go deeper into this and just understand through this example, which is 12 links. So it's an illustration. So he says yadidam. So now what we need to do is we need to see it like this. When there is ignorance, then the preparations come to be. With the arising of ignorance, preparation arises. Because the formula is this being, this come to be. With the arising of this, this arises. This being in the sense that this being true. So if ignorance is there, then the choices or preparation, which are called as sankhara, are going to be there. So with the arising of ignorance, avijja, sankhara is going to be there. So now we need to understand deeply what is this avijja and what is this sankhara. Now the word sankhara, there is an explanation. Just hold on. So, what is this ignorance? Where do I find this ignorance? And what are sankharas? So the definition of sankhara is sankharonti iti sankhara. That is, whatever we are trying to prepare, that is sankhara. Now we need to understand this from a perspective of a drama. The drama is that you go and put a role, and on that role you put on the robes, and on that robes you believe that you are that, and when you believe you are that, you start functioning like that, and when you start functioning like that, it means that you have created a kind of a makeup. You're prepared for that makeup, and the makeup seems to be the real. So every body part movement is in a way sankhara. But what he is going to talk next is the abhisankhara. We are going to come to that later. But what we need to understand is sankhara means that the makeup, what is created. So it is made up of, it's not real, it's just made up. And avidya here is ignorance. So I am ignorant that everything is made up. Everything is created like how it is created in a theater or a drama. There is nothing real out there, but it seems to provide a reality. It is going to make that feeling that it is real. And because of contact, that feeling and perception happens. So if you look at the 5 aggregates, the Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, which is form, feeling, perception, the Sankhara, what we are talking about, which is nothing but the preparation or the makeup or the choices or willful intention, volition. These are the different words to define in English what is Sankhara. And then the Vijnana, which is consciousness. So when there is ignorance, preparations come to be considered as real. With the arising of ignorance, so the preparation arises. With this being true, this comes to be. So when ignorance is true, ignorance of the preparation or the makeup is true, then the preparations keep on continuing. As long as that is there, that is, ignorance is there, these preparations are going to arise. Then the next link is that when there are preparation, consciousness comes to be. Sankhara Pachaya Vijnana. With the arising of Sankhara or the makeup or the preparation or volition or choices, consciousness arises. This is an important aspect what we need to do. Instead of all the 12 links, we will focus on the first 2 links, Avidya Pachaya Sankhara and Sankhara Pachaya Vijnana. So this Sankhara, how does it create consciousness? That would be the question. How can Sankhara create consciousness? I can understand consciousness might be creating sankhara. But how can this sankhara create consciousness? Now, for each one of these makeup items which I am considering to be true, there is a conscious experience of that makeup. Example, in this drama, my name is Vilas. So the character name is Vilas, and this character has certain attributes, being a son of so and being staying in so and working in so and so, knowledgeable of so and so, etc. And there is a feeling deep inside that I am this. So this being true, that is, as long as I consider that I am Vilas, that is ignorance, the makeup is going to be there. So I have made up the story of Vilas. So I can say that I am born in so and so country and in staying in so and so city, part of so and so tradition or part of so and so religion, speaking so and so language, and now having knowledge on Buddha Dhamma. So if I want to define like that, all of that becomes sankhara. Now I have that conscious experience of Vilas. And there is manyana. Manyana means considering or accepting. So now I consider this physical frame and the mind to be Vilas. And hence there is a conscious experience. So when I call Vishnu, he is going to respond because there is a conscious experience through the ear. If I were to call Sachin and then he is going to again respond, Vishnu will not respond now. It is Sachin who is going to respond because the name Sachin resonates in his ear. And then there is a conscious experience. Even though he has put a makeup called as Sachin, yet he will experience it as Sachin. So this is how the experience, like a magician, consciousness will provide. So this consciousness arises in sight or in the eyes and the ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. All the six sense door. As soon as a particular object comes in contact, phassa, there is going to be Vedana. And with Vedana there is Sanya, perception. With Sanya there is an intention, which is Chetana. Then there is Manasikara. Manasikara as in reflection of that object on consciousness. So when we say there is a Nama and Rupa, the Nama portion is Phassa, Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Manasikara. So when there is an object either seen or heard or touched or smelled or whatever way we are able to see this, each one of these six sense doors, the experience would exactly match to what is there in the sankhara. So I start experiencing that personality, that whatever is my understanding. So there is a creation of I. So then it becomes I am seeing and I am hearing, I am tasting, I am touching, I am smelling, I am thinking. Because in the drama, the makeup artist now completely feels that it is I am who is experiencing it. And that is what these six consciousness are going to be doing. So this comes to be, if this is true, this being true, this comes to be with the arising of this arises. Iti imasmim sati idam hoti imassa uppada idam uppajjati. Now when there is consciousness, name and form comes to be. With the arising of consciousness, name and form arises. Now the nama is what I just now spoke, based upon the contact, phassa, vedana, feeling, sanya, perception, chetana, intention, manasikara, conscious reflection. So when I have sankhara, creating that experience as vilas, that is, the makeup is making me really feel I am vilas because of the contact. So there is a contact, phassa, then there is vedana, then there is perception. The perception is I am indeed vilas. Then there is an intention. As vilas, I am going to do the following. I am going to see, I am going to touch, I am going to smell, I am going to taste, and I am going to think. And there is this deep I created called mana, vanity. And the manasikara is ayoniso manasikara, because this reflection, instead of reflecting pure consciousness, it is reflecting defiled consciousness. Defilement in terms of reflection of vilas, which never existed. So now this being true, this has come to be. So with vilas being true, now the vilas has been born. With arising of that vijnana, consciousness, vilas appears as name and form. The form side is the four elements or the dhatu, which are the quality of Pathavi as in earth element or earth quality, Apo as in the liquid quality, Tejo as in heat quality, then Vayu as in the air quality. Then Upadaya Rupa means derived from that. So as long as the Pathavi is going to be there, so long the color is going to be there. Varna is color. So long as Apo is going to be there, Rasa is going to be there. And so long as Vayu is going to be there, Gandha is going to be there. And so long as Tejo is going to be there, Ojas is going to be there. So it has got derived from these four qualities. So the perception of heat and cold is what we can see, but we cannot really experience tejo. If there is a contact, then we can find that it is hot or cold. So without contact, without phassa, there is no vedana. And without the phassa and vedana, there cannot be any sanya, perception. And without any perception, there cannot be any chetana, which is intention. And without these four, nothing can appear in consciousness, manasikara. Okay. So now this name and form goes in circle. So consciousness with name and name and form with consciousness now goes in circle. So in the Mahanidana Sutta, Buddha explains what is Nama Rupa, and there are four ways of seeing it. Let's not go there and confuse ourselves, but let's understand this formula in a proper way. This being true, this comes to be. With the arising of this arises. Iti masmim sati idam hoti imassa uppada idam uppajjati. So with ignorance being true, preparations or the volitional actions or the makeup or the choices comes to be. With the arising of ignorance, preparation arise. You basically prepare yourself because the makeup is ready. Because of that makeup, you will have a conscious experience, vijnana. Because of that vijnana, now you have a designation. You can designate that object and you can now say what that object is. You can define it, you can describe it, you can create a story on that object. And that's what we have been creating. So the Vilas now has a story. And that's what the experience would be. So whatever is going to be said as Nama and Rupa, it is exactly experienced in the Vijnana. So the first principle is called as Sahetu Dhamma, the causal law. So it's not about reading through and saying that, oh, Paticcasamutpada means avidya pachay sankhara, sankhara pachay vijnana, vijnana pachay namarupa, namarupa pachay salayatana, like a recitation. That is not going to help. We need to see this dependent origination or Paticcasamutpada using the formula. So without the formula, it is so without understanding the formula, it's not going to work. So the formula we need to remember all the time. Iti imasmim sati idam hoti imassa uppada idam uppajjati. That has to be used as a meditation subject, or rather meditation object, which will turn you into vipassana, insight. Or it can be put as vipassana. Passana is to see, vipassana is to extensively see or penetratingly see it. Now this ignorance is what causes the makeup, and this makeup will then be the reason for the consciousness or the conscious experience, and that conscious experience is the one which then makes me to identify, designate, describe everything. And because of that, there is sixth sense door gets created, because I need to see, I need to hear, I need to taste, I need to touch, I need to smell, and the I is embedded or put into it. And because of that, then there is contact, the respective object for identification. And because of that, then there is feeling, and because of the feeling, there is going to be craving, and because of the craving, there is going to be holding on to that experience and wanting it again and again. And because of that, there is continuous becoming, to become that or become this, like that. And that leads to birth. So the question was asked, how was Vilas born? Vilas was born out of ignorance. That answer might look very stupid or very far-fetched, but if I really see how Vilas happened, the experience of Vilas is happening due to ignorance. And ignorance of what? Ignorance of the Sankhara. So we'll now go into the Sutantha Bhajaniyam section of the Paticcasamutpada Vibhanga. It's a Vibhanga 6. So we'll see how this iti imasmim sati idam hoti imas upada idam uppajjati is explained in detail. So first he gives the 12 links. Then he explains what is the meaning of avidya, ignorance. Dukkhe anyanam, dukkha samudaye anyanam, dukkha nirode anyanam, dukkha nirodagamaniya patipada anyanam, ayam uchati avidya. Now he talks that it's of not knowing Four Noble Truth is avidya. So we might also rattle this and make it into a recitation. Now what is this? This has got to dukkha, dukkhe anyanam, and dukkha samudaye anyanam. So another way to see is that iti rupasya samudayo iti rupasya attangamo. So there are many suttas where Buddha talked iti rupasya samudayo iti rupasya attangamo. Now this rupa is not known. Meaning this rupa is coming out of food. That is not known. Iti rupa is these 4 qualities, what we mentioned earlier with the 4 upadaya rupa, that is fair. But the next one is not known. Ahara samudayo, rupa samudayo. That is not known. So the ignorance here is, I don't know that this is coming out of food, which I can see actually. Without food, the body doesn't get developed. It consistently requires refreshment. I need to keep on refreshing it. And that has been there from the time the womb entry happened. From that time till now, the refreshment is happening. But the refreshment is camouflaged by the sankhara. That means the sankharas don't allow this refreshment to be seen. So continuously I'm adding and it is going out, again I'm adding, it is going out, again I'm adding, it's going out, so like that. So this is what the samsara is all about. There is an arising and there is ceasing. There is again arising, then there is ceasing, then again arising, then ceasing. Breath also the same, there is arising and ceasing. Either I see the ceasing or I don't see the arising, or I see the arising, I don't see the ceasing. And when we say a puttujana, he does not know this arising and ceasing at all. And that is the dukkha. Because I don't know where this vilas will be reborn. The food is going in and the food is going out in a different way. The four dhatus are entering in and they are going out in a different way, where I consider it to be mine. So the avidya is that I am considering it to be mine. That is the dukkha. I am holding on to it. I am feeling that it is me. And hence I do the makeup to ensure that I stay. Now, if I come to know that there is dukkha, there is a reason for dukkha, which is samudaya, then there is dukkha nirodha and the dukkha nirodha gamini, then I am stopping from the root. So that becomes cessation, nirodha. So that goes into the other cycle. We only spoke about iti imasmim sati idam hoti imassa uppada idam upajjati. Now we can talk about the other cycle. This not being true, this does not come to be. With the cessation of this ceases. This is called as patiloma, reverse order. Anuloma was the forward order. Now we are going on to the backward order of it. Iti imasmim asati idam na hoti imassa nirodha idam nirujjati. So the moment I see this body is coming due to food, sankhara ceases instantly, because there is no longer vilas, there is no makeup, and with that the conscious experience of vilas also goes away, and with that the name and form also goes away, with that the phassa goes away, then like that everything goes away. So if I always have that experience, neutral experience, not a pleasurable experience or a painful experience, which I generally have when vilas is said, if I come out of it, there is no I then. There are no polarities. The dichotomy is not there between I and that. So the first person, the second person and the third person. I need the language and the grammar and syntax creates the first person. So I feel I am Vilas. That's the first person. Considering I am Vilas, I am interacting with people. So that is with a person like wife or brother or a sister or a son or a daughter or whatever. That's the second person. And with relation to that, there will be third person and fourth person, like that. So the language is made to have that nama rupa experience. Because when you designate something, so you have adhivachana sampassa, where you designate, describe and all that. There is a patigga sampassa, which is the striking. Patigga is to strike. So there is going to be a strike through. So when the form appears, there is a strike. It strikes or it reflects on the consciousness. Like if I stand in front of the mirror, the reflection of the body is seen on that mirror. And instantaneously, the consciousness picks up it to be Vilas. And that's the problem. Now Vilas is born in the mind. What if there is no experience of Vilas at all? Then there is no avijja. The dukkha was to hold on to Vilas, which is no longer there. So the nama rupa doesn't get the footing, and hence the consciousness also does not arise. So in the 5 aggregates, Buddha explains on how you should see. So iti rupasa samudayo, iti rupasa attangamo, iti vedanasa samudayo, iti vedana attangamo. Like that, each one of them. And the interesting fact here is ahara samudayo, rupa samudayo, ahara nirodho, rupa nirodho. Passa samudayo, vedana samudayo, passa nirodho, vedana nirodho. Phassa samudayo, sanya samudayo, phassa nirodho, sanya nirodho. Again, phassa samudayo, sankhara samudayo, phassa nirodho, sankhara nirodho. And the last one is very interesting. Nama rupa samudayo, vinyana samudayo, nama rupa nirodho, vinyana nirodho. Now the vinyana, what we are talking is the 6 senses. And each one requires a designation, each one requires a striking. If there is no phassa, then there is no experience at all. Nothing can be experienced. So the objective here is to remove the avijja where this contact is happening. So if I remove that avijja, if that doesn't come to be, this not being true, this does not come to be. With the cessation of this ceases. Now I can put this for the entire 12-link illustration. So now I can go on the anuloma forward from avijja pacaya sankhara and come backward. And with that, like a scissor, it cuts. This helps me in not only understanding the 4 Noble Truths, but also understanding and having the real experience of Paticcasamutpada cycle. So let's do it now from Sankhara Niddeso Tata Katame Avidya Pachaya Sankhara Punyabhi Sankhara Apunyabhi Sankhara Anenjabhi Sankhara Kaya Sankharo Vachi Sankharo Chitta Sankharo. Now for my meditation on Sankhara, what should I do? I need to look at the Kaya Sankhara. In the Chula Vedala Sutta, Dhamma explains that what is this Kaya Sankhara? Assa Passa Ko Avuso Visaka Kaya Sankhara Vitakka Vicharo Avuso Visaka Vachi Sankhara Sanya Vedana Visako Chitta Sankhara. Now let's investigate all of this. Punyabhi Sankhara, Anenjabhi Sankhara, Kaya Sankhara, Vachi Sankhara and Chitta Sankhara. So Punya Abhisankhara. Abhisankhara means on the makeup, having another makeup to do something through intention. Kusala Chetana Kama Vakara, Rupa Vakara, Danamaya, Silamaya, Bhavanamaya, Ayam Vuchati Punyabhi Sankhara. Chetana is intention, so Kusala Chetana, Kama Vakara, Rupa Vakara, Danamaya, Silamaya, Bhavanamaya. Kama Vakara, Vakara is actually circle. It's a vritta, like a circle. Can be called as a sense, sensual, Kama. Rupa is the form, world, a fine form than the senses. Where I do Dana, Sila and Bhavana. Dana is donation, Sila is establishing morality, Bhavana Maya means staying in a particular state which can be called as jhana or meditation. So this is Punyabhi Sankhara. Then Apunyabhi Sankhara is Akusala Chetana Kamavakara Ayam Vuchati Apunyabhi Sankhara. All unwholesome intentions, which are the 10 immoral deeds, all of them would be Apunyabhi Sankhara. And Anenjabhi Sankhara is Kusala Chetana Arupa Pakara, only Arupa, getting into the Arupa jhanas, that is infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception, and staying in that is Anenjabhi Sankhara. Now, Kaya Sankhara is Kaya Sanchetana Kaya Sankharo. So she explains that it is in breath, out breath, which can be called as Kaya Sankhara because that is the very basic one. The body is moving, doing lot of things because of breath. One who understands breath understands Kaya. And hence in the Anapanasati, Buddha starts with so satova assa sati, satova passa sati. So you need to remember that you are breathing. Sato, sati, sat, if you add a grammatical syntax to it, it becomes a sato. Satova assa sati. Assa is in breath, passa is out breath. Satova assa sati, satova passa sati. So I need to know that there is an in breath and there is an out breath. So you need to see like a puppet show. It's not about watching the breath. It is like watching like a puppet show. The body is going up, it is thrown down. Again the body is going up, again throwing down. Again it is going up, again throwing down. If you practice properly, then the Vachi Sankhara will stop. Vachi Sankhara as in Vitakka and Vichara. So if I'm watching this body going up and coming down, going up and coming down, and then the Vitakka Vichara will stop. So to enter into Nibbana, first I need to stop the Vachi Sankhara by observing the breath. And when the Vachi Sankhara is stopped, the breath is stopped, and when the breath is stopped, so the Mano Sankhara or Chitta Sankhara is stopped. That is feeling for something and perceiving something. Both are not there. So the Sankharas are completely stopped. And when there is no Sankhara, there is no Avijja. So the first thing I need to know, Avijja, is that the Four Noble Truths, for which I need to know that this body is what I call as mine or me and myself. Eso mama asmi, eso me atta iti. This is what I feel. This is mine, this belongs to me, this is myself. So when that Avijja is gone, all the Sankharas will become Samatha. Etan santan, etan panitan, yadidam, sabba sankhara samato, sabbupadi patinisaggo, tanhakhayo, virago, nirodho, nibbana. Etam santan, etan panitam. This is peaceful and this is excellent. When these sankharas are tranquilized, brought to a stop, Sabbupadi patinisaggo, all the assets which are called as experiences are completely cut off. Patinisaggo. Nisagga is to remove. Pati is to bond. Patinisaggo is to cut out the bond. Tanhakhayo, the craving will reduce. Virago, establishment of viraga, the coloring is gone. There is no longer any color. You are able to see as it is. Nirodho, cessation. And because there is viraga and tanhakhaya, nibbana is immediately experienced. Not I am in nibbana, not that I would be in nibbana or I am going to achieve nibbana, not like that. There is not a place to go and sit, but I would be in nibbana. Nibbana just embraces. That's a Parama Attha. Parama is topmost, the best. Atta is whatever that can be experienced. Atta as in my or myself. So in this conditioned life, that is the only thing which is unconditioned. So with these two links, Avijja Pachaya Sankhara, Sankhara Pachaya Vijnana, we can experience Nibbana. You don't have to go through the complete 12-link process. So first I need to do the Anuloma and second I need to do the Patiloma. Only two. Avijja and Sankhara. That's all. That is sufficient to see the dependent origination, which is called as Vattam Vattati, circling like a whirlpool. So as long as Avijja is going to be there, so long the Sankharas are going to be there. So long the Sankharas are going to be there, Avijja is going to be there. In the same way, so long the Sankharas are there, Vijnana is going to be there, the experience is going to be there. So long the experience is going to be there, so the Sankhara is going to be there. So long the Vijnana is going to be there, the Nama Rupa is going to be there. So long as Nama Rupa is going to be there, Vijnana is going to be there. So it's a circle. So we need to cut that whirlpool. And the moment the Avijja is gone, the whirlpool is completely extinguished. And that is Arhat. So a glimpse of this is experienced in Sotapanna. And many of these glimpses are experienced in Sakadagami. For a long period, it can be experienced by Anagami. And Arhat can always be in that without any 12 link at all. Because there is no Avijja. It's cut off. The whirlpool is gone. So nobody can now say, where did the whirlpool go? Did it go south? Did it go north? Did it go east? Did it go west? Did it go up? It goes down? Where it went? It just went. In the same way, when this whirlpool is removed from the mind, whom can be called as an Arhat, his consciousness, Vijnana, can never be traced because there is no fuel. There is no upadana. And without that, there is no bhava. Because there is no bhava, there is no jati. And because of that, there is no jara, marana, soka, parideva, dukkha, do, manasopayasa, sambhavanti. Evameva, kevalasa, dukkha, khandasa, samudaya, hoti. That whole thing is gone. That's all I wanted to cover today on Paticcasamutpada. On 2 links, we can continue more next time, either tomorrow or day after tomorrow or whenever, after you try to see it. So the way to see it is why there is Avijja of what? Avijja that this body is made out of food. So first you have to bring in Sammaditthi. In the Sammaditthi Sutta, if you go, Sariputta explains different aspect of Paticcasamutpada. In that, one interesting thing is about ahara. Kabalinka ahara, Phassa ahara, Manosanchetana ahara, and Vijnana ahara. So if somebody were to understand this, he can remove Avijja. So very simple thing is, I need to see that the body is growing due to food. I am not growing it. There is no I to grow the body. You put the food, it grows. Don't put the food, it dies. And you need to keep on replacing it or refreshing it. Best word to put is refresh. So morning once refreshment, and we call that also refreshment. Afternoon refreshment, evening refreshment. At least minimum 3 times refreshment. And as it grows, there is decay at the same time. So the food what is eaten, the water what is drunk, while eating, while drinking was in good shape, but when it comes out of the body, it is going to be really bad. Yes, Sachin, you wanted to say something?
No, I was disconnected. Sorry.
Okay. So basically, that is what happens, that I don't know that this body is coming due to food, and I put on makeup, believing that it is true. So the moment the makeup is removed, the sankharas are all gone. The kaya sankhara, vachi sankhara, mano sankhara, punyabhi sankhara, aninjabhi sankhara, all these sankharas are gone. So I don't have to do anything. Mind is relieved of all sankharas. Sabba sankhara samatho, sabbupadi patini saggo, tanhakkayo, virago, nirodho, nibbana. So this is what I have been experiencing for past few weeks. So I thought, let me share with all of you. So anybody would like to ask any questions or comments?
I would like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, how I can formulate it or not. If everything is arises like sankhara arises through the avidya, but it's like sometimes lots of things arises parallelly. I mean, for example, if we think about the war, somebody's mind arises like business, somebody's arises like death, somebody's arises like winning, somebody's like losing, right? So that is the reason maybe the Vinaya, Titika, like Vinaya, Anusasan, or like disciplinary, like limit. Okay, don't eat that much, don't limit yourself with these sensory things. Don't go for ornament, jewelry things. Like, this is the way of limiting our abhijya, right?
Correct. So
If we limit our abhijya, that's what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. At the beginning, lots of things at the same moment can be stopped.
yeah,
Baba starts. Yeah.
you're right, Vishnu. See what happens here. Initially, when we start, we have to start like that. So we need to have a Vinaya, because then it follows a process. So we have followed one process which is called samsara. Now we have to follow another process to come out of samsara. So to make the mind stop latching on to the one which has created a habit pattern, everything is habit. So coming out of the habit pattern, you have to create another set of habit called as kusala. From akusala, create kusala. And that helps in understanding avidya. And once you understand avidya, now you can put steps to remove avidya. So initially we need to have the sila to establish samadhi and then to get panya. So sila, samadhi, panya becomes a tripod on which the camera is sitting. The camera is in the consciousness. So using this thoughtful reflection, yoniso manasikara, I create restraint in the eyes and the ears and the nose and tongue and the body and the mind. That is, I do the indriya bhavana. And once I do that indriya bhavana and apply, like in the Mula Pariyaya Sutta, where Buddha says that the untaught worldling Puttujana, and the Sekha, Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and the person who has completed the training, Arhat, and Tathagata. And he gives 24 of them, starting with Pathavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Bhuta, Deva, Pajapati, Brahma, like that. Once I do no manyana, not considering, na manyati, ma manyati, that is not to consider earth as mine, like that, when I do it, then the avidya goes away. So it will take time. For that I need to first establish sila, and I come into samadhi bhavana, and panya happens. Then it starts dropping. The habits keep on dropping, providing clarity. So that's the answer, Vishnu.
No, exactly. I appreciate that. Because until panya arises, whatever activity we do is unwholesome. We are no like we are like unable to judge what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. And in the name of wholesome, we are doing lots of unwholesome, and we are adding makeup over makeup over makeup, right? And
Correct.
one day we feel that, oh my goodness, I have too much makeup. I need to remove this. So that first of all, like what I understood, we have to develop panya, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. Then we can lead our life towards the wholesome.
Correct.
And we can stop at the, like, another sangya arises, before the arises, we can stop there. Oh, it leads to me unwholesome activities, unwholesome sankhara. So that's panya, that's a great important. I understood that. Thank you very much.
Sure. Any other? Otherwise we can end. It's already 9:05 here. Sachin, Lasanta, you have anything to discuss?
Yeah, I was yesterday, day before, I was reading the DN9, in which one sentence was there. I asked the question.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe you can answer later if you have no time.
No, I can answer, not an issue.
In that Abhisankaroti, like you haven't touched that.
No, we have done it in Kajjaniya Sutta. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
not to worry. So Abhisankaronti is, Abhi means higher. Sankaronti is you do something higher than what it is. So let's say calling myself as Vilas is Abhisankara. Meaning I first consider that I am Vilas and I am doing everything as Vilas.
Okay.
So that becomes Abhisankara. So using Abhisankara, what happens here is that either I do Punya Abhisankara, or Apunya Abhisankara, or I do a Jhana, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th Arupa Jhanas, and that will be the what I can say, the Aninja Abhisankara. Okay, these three are Abhisankara. But when I come to the Sankhara, what is a Sankhara? It is a makeup or preparation.
Yeah. So I was having another word for, instead of makeup. Being a software industry, I can say program.
Yeah, whatever. So you create a program which will cover up the original thing.
Yeah. So programmed or program was. So my question was this: in DN09, I was reading this sentence. So in one of the jhana, 8 or jhana. Every jhana he is repeating that sentence. Then he says, so na chetayam, na abhisankarayam. Abhisankarayam. So don't intend and do not create program, something like that.
Correct.
So in that state, in that subtle state, he can choose whether I should create into intention or create into program. It's a choice or what?
Okay, for that you need to experience exactly the Nirodha Samapatti. I mean, you should get into Nirodha and then experience Nibbana. That state, you will not feel anything. There is no intention, there is no Abhisankara. Both are not there.
Yeah, and in some point I always get confused between intention, chetana, and the sankhara, program. I always think like sankhara is in past intention, right? So almost it is interchangeable thing.
No,
Okay,
it is
this
not.
is-
It is not. It is not
Yeah.
interchangeable thing. So let me give you an example, which happened a few weeks ago. So there was one girl who had come to my home, and my wife was saying her hands were wet. Okay, her hands and legs were wet. And suddenly it stuck to me. How can a person be wet? Okay, can a person be wet? Wetness is a quality of apo. But in the language, what we are doing is we are saying she has become wet. Or he has become wet. He has become hot. He has become cold. He has become short. He has become tall. He is tall. He is fair. He is black, like that. Right? That kind of designation, if you leave, you'll immediately experience Nibbana. At that very moment, I was in Nibbana because it just removed that conditionality. That how can she be wet? Who is she to be wet? Right? Now there was no intention about her, nor there were any sankharas flowing. So what happened is that etam santan, etam panitan, yadidam sabba sankhara samato, that is exactly what happened. At that moment there was no tanha. Viraga happened, nirodha happened, nibbana. Straight. But if I intend, do an intention, the Nibbana is gone. But now you know how to enter back into Nibbana. So you can always go back to Nibbana and you can come out of Nibbana. Again you can go to Nibbana and again come back. So when interacting with the world, you can be outside Nibbana, but when nobody is there to be interacted, go back to Nibbana. Now when you say Nibbana, it doesn't have intention nor it has Abhisankhara. That's correct. You can yourself experience it. I didn't intend to be Nibbana, then it is not Nibbana, because there is a condition again. It doesn't become unconditioned, it again becomes conditioned. And abhisankaroti means that I am wanting to be possessed by Nibbana, which is again going to be a problem. If you look at Mula Pariyaya Sutta, MN1, he says, even Nibbana shouldn't be latched onto. Saying that I have experienced Nibbana, or I was in Nibbana, and this is Nibbana, like that.
So basically, any program or any sankhara which is attached to I.
Yes. No. The sankhara will create I feeling. See now that this typical example I give. Now this camera is there. This body is there. is no difference between this body and your body and Vishnu's body and Lasanta body. Simple. All the four bodies are coming out of food. All the four of them. All the four. You give food, whatever color is there, it is coming. Simple. You are dark color, I am fair color. But there is no you and there is no I. It is just a body. Only in language you have created, oh, this is Sachin and this is Vilas. Language. That is called as Adhivachana. Okay, so Adhi means excessive. Vachana means speeching. So to speak about the person, you create a boundary called as language and grammar. Now the consciousness latches onto it. It sticks to that, or like a mind object, it sticks to that. So all the four bodies are coming due to food. If I really experience that, when I say real experience means I let go of Vilas. It's just a body. No Vilas body, just a body. And I don't recognize in this camera the person sitting is Vilas. Then what happens? There is no Abhisankara. Number one. And there is no Sankhara also. Because there are no thoughts about Vilas. Then the breath will be almost stopped. Then there is no perception and feeling. There is no feeling of Vilas, there is no perception of Vilas. So all Sankharas are gone. So there is no intention. What is there to intend? If the Sankhara is there, there is intention. If there is no Sankhara, where is the intention? So you are in Nibbana. Simple. It's a very easy way to get into Nibbana. So then another thing is that you can try is to experience this hand movement, eye movement, ear movement, mouth movement, nose movement, body movement as like a puppet. Somebody is, okay, you have to practice it and suddenly you'll get it. Once you get it, you've understood what is Vijnana. It's doing the same thing in you, doing the same thing in me, same thing in Vishnu, same thing in Lasanta, and same thing in everyone. An ant or a cockroach or a butterfly or a mosquito or whatever, it is doing that same. It is making it animated. See, if consciousness is not there, body stays wherever it is, which we all know. So why don't we investigate that as a vipassana? If we do that, you'll get it. So now, when you walk, pajanana happens. Sampajanakari hoti. Okay, so now, tithe, nisinne, sutte, jagarite, tunni bhave, all of the time, you can observe the mouth is opening. Who is opening? I am not opening. Because there is consciousness, the mouth is opening. Because there is consciousness, eyes are blinking. It's not my eye which is blinking. Eyes are blinking irrespective it's an animal or a bird or an insect or a human or whoever. Eyes will blink. Hands will move. It's not my hand. Hands. So now I can see Yavad eva jnanamattaya patisati mattaya anisito cha viharati nacha kincha loke upadiyati evam eva bhikkhu kaye kayanu viharati. Now I can really experience that. So when I say yavad eva, only for this, for what? Jnanamattaya, to have the knowledge of what? This body movement. Pati sati mattaya, to remember how this body is moving. Anisito cha viharati, doesn't create a story out of it. Is also called as nissarana, that is escape. Anisito cha viharati, he stays. without creating anything. Nacha kinchi loke upadiyati, does not create the world of six senses. I am seeing, I am hearing, I am tasting, I am touching, I am smelling, I am thinking. Nacha kinchi loke upadiyati evam eva bhikkhu kaye kayanupassi viharati. Now you have understood what is the kaya, kaye, collection, kaya anupassana, seeing the kaya from a third party perspective. And that's the reason there are two kaya there. Kaye kayanupassi viharati. Anupassana is to watch. What? Kaya. Collection. Collection of what? Collection of the breath with the body moving up and closing down. Again it goes up, again goes down. I had one experience in January. So I had this slight fever. So I had gone to the bathroom. Then I told my wife that I might be having giddiness and I will fall down. So please hold me. So she came. I wanted to urinate and I just fell like this. Unconscious. But I still remembered how that whole body became like this. Okay? So that is what is consciousness holding on to this. There's no person. When it's unconscious, it becomes like this. So you can now see the puppet. The puppet is held like this. So this is moving. If it just thrown out, what happens? It just falls like this. If you practice, you will get it and you will come to know all the sankharas. Because everything is sankhara. All the body movements are sankhara. Now another thing in sankhara, you will automate it, meaning the mind automates this movement. So you will never be able to watch it. You should watch it as a third party. So when you watch it like a third party, you will experience. So that is the practice leading on to liberation, vimukti. Okay, Alankar, you just joined, but we are ending the session. Okay, good night everyone then. I have some work to do, otherwise I would have continued. So you need to excuse me. And we'll try to catch up either tomorrow or a Sunday or on Monday. I will message and then we can again meet continuing on the Paticcasamutpada. Okay, Namo Buddhaya.
Okay, Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Bye bye.